It's not always small. Okay.
Hey, Jim, the last three opponents are 11 for 13 against your defense in the red zone. Okay, thanks. What issues have you been noticing?
I don't know. I think every one of those games sort of stands on its own. And I'll go back to what I've said before. Our goal is to win the game. It's not to hold them to a certain amount of yards rushing or a certain percentage on third down or a certain thing on red zone. And we're 2-1 in the last 3 games. I think that's the bottom line. That being said, there's certain things that help you win a game. Red zone percentage is one of them. So we need to play better there.
What was up with some of the corners bid on double moves? Is that just a thing because that's what the Giants do a lot of, or is that something that you have to be concerned
Well,
about?
we were giving up plays in front early, and when we tightened down to start being more aggressive, the down part of that is you become susceptible to double moves. We got to play both. And that's part of the job description of a corner is, you have to be able to defend short passes and deep passes. And you have to be able to recognize some situations. We didn't do a greatest job in the first 3 series of recognizing some situations where there was potential for them to throw a double move. Not all of them are identifiable, but some of them I think we could have been a little bit better there. And when we have chances to play the ball and get the ball, we have to take advantage of those. We had 3 different times in that game that we had balls that hit our hands. And if we make those plays, then we're feeling a lot different. Even though the final score, the final score probably wouldn't have been the same. Maybe the result isn't the same. We still win the game, but we stop those drives a little bit earlier.
When a team goes no huddle, how does that influence or affect you and what you're able to call?
Oh, we've seen that from a million different people. I mean, we mixed man, zone, blitz, everything else, and I think the thing that we did a good job of in this game was being able to sub on the fly. Sometimes it's hard to do when you get caught with 12 guys on the field. Our guys were urgent getting on and off the field. We played a lot of snaps on defense. A lot of that self-inflicted. We had some long drives that kept us on the field. We played 80-some snaps of defense. Getting those subs in was important to us. But I mean, we do it in training camp. We've done it just about every game this season. Everybody has different tempos, and really doesn't change anything that we do.
You've given up 24 points on the first 2 possessions the last 3 games. I think you only gave up 15 in the first 11. Any one thing you can point to there? I mean, you mentioned recognition problems early.
When I say recognition problem, I was talking about the double moves. That doesn't go to. Yeah, that went to the double moves. So what's the question?
Why are you giving up points early suddenly?
Letting them in the end zone. Every one's different. We've had some where we've given up big plays. We've had some where they've methodically driven down the field. One thing that has hurt us, particularly in this last game, were penalties and third down. Like the first 3 series of the game, I think we started 0 for 6 on third downs. You talk about a good formula for giving up points, there's one right there. And when I say 0 for 6, that might not be the stat count because the penalties don't count in those official stats, but they count on defense. And we started 0 for 6. Now, I don't know what we finished. I think we were like 11 for 20 or something like that in the whole thing. So we had to really come back from that. But we kept drives alive, whether it was by allowing a catch or we kept drives alive by getting a stop and then having the drive kept alive by penalties. When we're playing our best, we don't give teams second chance. And I've said that a few weeks in a row now. I'm getting a little bit tired of saying it, but we have to get back to that. We have to get back to playing clean football, not giving people stuff for free. First drive, we have them stopped on a 3rd and goal from the 7, I believe. 3 points. We're battling the next series. All of a sudden, it's 1st and goal on the 2 or whatever, 1st and goal on the 3 or 4, and then 2nd and goal on the 2, and then they score a touchdown, and now we feel totally different about that. And that's a direct result of defensive holding, illegal contact. I'll take the defensive, the offsides on the punt too, because special teams players are mainly defensive players. We get a team stopped, you can't give them another chance like that. The points we gave up in the second half were right after that one. So there's a lot of things the opponents do to us You know, they can run and pass and play action and everything else. I think what's more important in this is what we're doing. And when we play our best, we don't give up touchdowns.
As you
So-
say,
These issues are popping up, but as we're in the stretch run here, I mean, right around playoff time.
Every game's competitive. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was watching TV, and everybody was concerned that Tom Brady lost on the road, you know. Early in the season, it was Ben Roethlisberger, and he didn't have it anymore and everything else. A long season, you got to deal with a lot of things. There's 16 games. You're on the road. You're home. There's long road trips. There's long home stands. There's injuries. I mean, it's a 16-week challenge of having to fight through those things. Well, lost my train right there. And well, the whole point is find a way to get the win. Style points, fantasy football points, everything else, man, that's secondary to it. Yeah, we want to play better. We want to give up fewer points. We want to take less defensive penalties. You know, every step along the way. A couple weeks ago, I didn't think we played the run very well against the Rams. We did a pretty good job holding down their play-action passing game that they had made a lot of chunks with. That's a damn good offense. They went and ran up the scoreboard last week. This week, we played the run pretty well. We didn't respond well to the quick passes. Every week is something different, and the challenge is being able to to survive it to win. And I think that's the point, man. Our job is to win games. We win them. After that, man, let's it's all coaching after that, meaning it's part of coaching. It's part of coaching. Hey, we need to do better on third down. Hey, we need to defend the run better in this situation. We need to tighten up our coverage on quick passes. We need to loosen up our coverage on deep passes. Whatever it is, that's just part of what goes into it. Sorry.
Darby's issues.
I wouldn't say they're Ron Darby's issues. I would say it's secondary issues. Ron gave up some plays in this game, but I think everybody in our secondary, maybe other than Corey Graham, gave up at least a play. And, you know, it's not a one-man game. You know, Ron can play better than he did. He knows that. He's another one that had a chance to be able to make an interception down in the end zone. He's to high point the ball and, man, get that thing down. And those are the plays that he can make. He made that interception. That helped spark us. We were struggling. That interception had a lot to do with us getting back in that game and winning that game. So you got to give him I give him credit for that also. But it wasn't just a Ron Darby thing. All of our corners gave up plays. What's that?
Is he in shape?
Yeah, I don't think it's conditioning. Yeah, we played a lot of snaps on defense. He played every single one of them, but that goes for what we do in the NFL.
Is there any issue with him? I mean, he hasn't played a lot in the defense this year. Is he still learning some of the scheme?
I would categorize his stuff more technique-wise in this game. You know, I'm sure there's, you know, with more experience, you do get more comfortable and communication happens quick. And we mentioned the no huddle and things like that. Maybe that could play a part. But when you look at it from a coaching standpoint, you look at it from a technique standpoint. And I think, you know, that's where he can play a little bit better.
Jim, you mentioned the quick passes. It seemed like the slant, at least early, was a problem.
Yeah.
You guys have been really good with that for most of the season. What do you think happened there?
Well, a lot of those were run plays, and they were RPOs, and they were ripping them out of there. I just think we were a little too back in coverage. But again, there's a fine line. All of a sudden, you come up and you get double moves over your head, and you know, it took us 3 series of. I mean, it's a terrible cliche, but three series of getting punched in the mouth before we responded and started playing more consistently. And that's something that we can't allow to happen. You know, we got to come out early and say, you know, hey, we're on top. We've played those RPOs before. You know, we've played run game before, you know. But again, every game's going to be different challenges, and we got to find a way to win the game. Fortunately, we were able to do that in this game.
as a follow-up to that, you spoke earlier this season about playing off coverage,
Mm-hmm.
relying on the tackling. Has the tackling gone down, or is it just players making plays, or in that area, what do you see?
No, I don't think. I mean, like you look at the very first play of the game where Jalen Mills had a completion. That was an RPO, and I think it was like a 6-yard gain or something. And he made a good, strong, tough tackle, but it was still 2nd and 4. There's ways to be able to play off coverage, to be able to still stop short passes. A lot of it has to do with underneath coverage stuff. There's a great example. One of the same plays that got us early in the game, Nigel Bradham stepped right in front of and, had a chance to seal the game right there. We didn't get it done, but there's other ways to be able to help on those short passes, and our linebackers and underneath covers have a lot to do with it. Defensive line can have a lot to do with it too. A knockdown pass somewhere along the line can go a long way. We've done that in the past also.
Is fatigue an issue with some of your guys in your secondary in particular?
No, I don't. I think this game was sort of unique when it came to some of that was self-inflicted. You play a 16-play drive or something like that. We're not getting off the field on third down. That's not an easy thing. That's not an easy thing early in the season, late in the season, on a Tuesday or on a Sunday. So that's part of football. Sometimes you're going to be on the field. It's not always going to be a 3 and out and, chest bumping and coming over to the sideline. You're going to have to grind through some things, and, that's just part of what we have to do as players.
You mentioned Corey Graham didn't give up any plays. What did you see on that final play in the back of the end zone to Evan Ingram?
Yeah, he's in the right spot, right where he needed to be. He's a smart player. We played a lot of a sub package to try to handle Evan Ingram, particularly after the start that he had. And I think Corey did a really good job of handling it and then when we lost Patrick Robinson, Malcolm had to go in and play the nickel. Corey was a really valuable player. And on that play, I think everybody knew where he was going with the ball. Corey had good leverage and also went up and played the ball. Easy to get a DPI right there, to have your back turned, freak out, panic. He's a veteran player. He doesn't do any of those things. And he's a trustworthy guy. Did a pretty good job tackling in that game when we didn't have a great day tackling. He helped us get that win.
Okay. Last one.
Are you at the point, this deep into the season, where even if opponents catch on and do things better, you guys just do what you do? How do you reconcile as a coach where maybe you might want to change things up, or do you just not, at this point, you're single safety or you're a 4-man rush team or you're an off-coverage team? Is that your identity? Can you make any changes if you feel they're necessary?
Yeah, our scheme's big enough to play it however we want to. We went to some other coverages early in that game. We blitzed a little bit early in that game. What really got us out of it was nothing to do with any of those. What got us out of that was the urgency and the feeling of giving up 3 straight touchdowns. It shouldn't take that. It shouldn't take giving up 3 straight touchdowns to get that urgency. We need to come out with more fire. If we're disappointed in anything, let's be disappointed in that. A little bit like halftime at the Rams. It took us 2 straight drives of giving up touchdowns before all of a sudden it said, hey, it's time to play. And we played some games this year where we played lights out from the beginning to the end. Not every game is going to be that way. Offenses are good too. That quarterback's a couple Super Bowl MVPs, and he was hot, and it was hard to get him off rhythm. The name of the game was getting the win. We were able to do that, and our scheme's big enough that we can play a lot of different ways. We've had games this year where we've blitzed. I'm sure you guys are like, wow, they're a blitz team this year, and then other games it's like, wow, you got burned with the blitz, and some, everyone's a little bit different.
How do you fix that urgency matter?
What's that?
The urgency thing you alluded to. How do you fix it?
I think you learn from what's happened with it. I think that when you have success as a team, sometimes you, I don't want to say take it for granted, because that's a bad. You become accustomed to winning. You become accustomed to games not being close. When it's all said and done, maybe these last couple of weeks. I knew a coach a long time ago, and I'm sorry, Anthony, I'll just go this real quick. Went straight along and lost the Super Bowl game. And he said afterwards that he regretted not being in more close games over the course of the season, because things were rolling up. And then when it came time for it to be a close game, they really didn't have experience in that game. I think that we don't want to play close games, but there is experience to doing that. And the bottom line is coming out with the win. I'm proud of the guys for coming out with the win. I'm proud of them for getting a stop on the last drive. I'm proud of them for getting the ball back against the Rams and giving us a chance and things like that. Every game you're not going to play your best, and it's just life in the NFL. But You know, part of it is becoming battle tested and having some awareness that there is that urgency every single week. Now, when you're what some teams maybe 7-5. What are we? We're 12-2. Yeah, I mean we're on a week-by-week basis. We never even really pay attention to that. But like say you're 7-5 right now. Guess what? There's already that urgency, and you're in the moment maybe a little bit. I think there's some lessons to be learned from it. You know, some of our younger guys here or there. You know, maybe some guys that haven't been in a position like this before. You know, so. I think the bottom line is we somehow were able to come out with a win. Didn't look pretty. Clean single in the bloop to right field's clean single. That's my last baseball analogy. Thank you.